Okay, so we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. So we have our first example here. And what our goal is here is our goal is to get our variables on one side and our numbers on the other side. So I always start with, if there's anything to distribute, you can distribute. There's no distributing on this particular problem. So then I would go to combining like terms on each side of the wall independently. And then we can move stuff from one side to the other. We're trying to get all of the p's together, so I'm going to move 6p. And so if I'm going to move it to the other side, I got to undo it, so I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 6p. 11p minus 6p is going to be 5p. So then I have 5p minus 4 equals 1. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. And that's going to leave me with 5p equals 5. Last thing is 5 and p are multiplying, so I'm going to divide to undo that. And we're going to be left with p equals 1. Now, if you want to check yourself, so if we wanted to check that we got the right answer, we could plug that back into the original problem. And see if the two sides are equal to each other. So we're finding the solution here. The definition of a solution is the value that makes the sentence true. So we have 11 minus 4 equals 6 plus 1. 11 minus 4 is 7. And then 6 plus 1 is 7. So that checks out. All right, so we'll move to the next one. So we're going to distribute. Two times w is 2w. And then 2 times 8 is 16. I have a 2w, and then I have this negative 6w on the other side, so I'm going to subtract 2w from each side. Negative 6 and negative 2, so I think the best way to think of negatives is with money. So I owe somebody $6, I owe somebody else $2, altogether I owe $8. Then we're going to divide by negative 8. So negative 8 times w, that's multiplication. If I want to undo that, I'm going to divide. So w is going to be negative 2. And same scenario, we could plug that in and verify that that's the right answer. All right, next one. 15x minus 8 equals 14x plus 13. So I'm going to move my x's. I have a positive 14x, so I'm going to subtract 14x from each side. That's going to give me 1x minus 8 equals 13. Then I want to move my 8 over. It's a minus 8, so I'm going to add 8 to undo that. And I get 1x equals, and then 13 plus 8 is going to be 21. And then I have just this 1x. 1x is just the same thing as x, so x equals 21. Okay, we'll come over here. Same scenario, I would distribute first. There's nothing to distribute. I have no like terms to combine on each side of the wall, so I'm going to move to moving. So I have a positive 5n. I want to get it to the other side. So I'm going to do minus 5n. 9 minus 5 is going to be 4. Then I have this minus 7 that I want to get over to the other side. If I want to undo that, I'm going to add 7. And then 7 plus 5 is 12. 4 and n are multiplying, so we're going to divide by 4. And we'll get n equals 3. I want you to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do this one on your own. All right, so let's go over it. So we have x's on each side. I have this positive 4x, so I'm going to subtract 4x. So what happens here is both of my x's actually end up canceling, and I get negative 15 equals 11. Now, when I think about this, there's no situation where I'm going to plug a number in for x and I'm going to make negative 15 equal 11. So this is going to be no solution. All right, and then the last one here, we're going to do our distributing. 3 times 2a is 6a, and then 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so then what I can notice here is both sides of this, so we have 6a plus 9, 6a plus 9. Those two sides are equal to each other. So whatever I plug in for a, it doesn't matter what number I plug in, I'm still going to get the same thing on both sides. So if we get to this scenario where our two sides are equal to each other, then that means that there's no number that I can plug in that's not going to make the two sides work. So this is actually going to be infinite solutions. Okay, so if we get two numbers that don't equal each other, that's going to be no solution. And then if we end up with the two sides of our problem equaling the same thing, that's going to be infinite solutions. And then we have these scenarios up at the top where we have one specific solution.